Hi, I wanted to do a quick video on the modifications I've made to my smoker. I have a New Braunfels Black Diamond, and I've done quite a few mods to help it perform better, and really happy with them. Wanted to share some of them with you. My first mods are pretty simple. I put the spring handles on, replace the wooden handles with springs. I think my major improvement on the outside was with the finish. As with a lot of people, I've seen a lot of rusty pits on YouTube. I was dealing with some rust issues, especially on the firebox, and finally what I ended up doing after getting tired of sanding away and re-spray painting it, I went to a metal coating business, and I had the whole pit sandblasted down to just the bare raw metal, and they coated the outside with a powdered aluminum heat finish. It's the same type of finish that they put on headers on race cars and stuff, and I've had that done over 6 years ago, and I have not one speck of rust on this pit now. I painted the finish black because it was kind of a silvery white color, but I don't even cover this thing anymore. I leave it out in the rain and everything and don't have to deal with rust. Let me get into the inside now. Okay, one of the modifications I did was to the lid. It was to cause the sealing problem, the way the lid seals to the cooking chamber. What I did was I took a red, the red heat-resistant silicone gasket material basically, and I ran a bead along the outside of the lid, and then I took PAM, PAM nonstick spray, and I sprayed the outer rim of the cooking chamber, closed the lid, and let it dry, and this thing's airtight now. Next modification I did is a pretty common one on these offsets. I extended the smokestack down to where it's a little under an inch above the grate, the grill, and I'll tell you what the reason. If you leave this at the height that it came at, it creates a cold spot right here, because the heat, if you could picture the heat coming in from the firebox, and then it wants to go up, heat goes up. So this is forcing the heat to stay down, at grill level where your food is. So it eliminates that cold spot. Next modification is right here. I used aluminum flashing to eliminate the hot spot. And normally, this opening between the cooking chamber and the firebox, it comes all the way up here. And I used aluminum flashing to seal that off. And if you're going to do this, make sure you don't use any type of galvanized material. Like I said, I used aluminum flashing, and it works great. As a little buffer between the food, and again to help it out with the hot spot, I'll put a disposable aluminum like loaf pan filled with water. It does two things. It again creates a buffer between the food and the material here, but it also keeps moisture in the air, humidity. If I'm cooking a smaller thing where it's not going to be close to the chamber here, I'll use 3 of these, and I'll put them all in a line like this. Keeps a lot of moisture in there, helps keep the food from drying out. All right, next modification. Alrighty, I've removed the cooking grates, the grills, and you can see I have a steel plate here. Some people call this a diffusion plate, others call it a tuning plate. Basically what it is, it's a 3/16 thick piece of steel angled up this way, and it's got a series of holes in it. The holes start at a 1/2 inch thick, and they go all the way up to 1.5 inches thick. And what it does is the heat comes in from the firebox down below this chamber, and it distributes. The smaller holes where of course it's going to be hotter, there's more heat coming in here, so there's smaller holes restricting the amount of heat coming in, progressively getting bigger until it gets to these the big 1.5 inch holes. Also, it controls the distribution of smoke. It's coming in right underneath the food, so the grate's sitting on top of this tuning plate. The other nice thing about this is it's 3/16 inch thick steel, and this thing gets hot and it retains the heat really good. It's just another way of keeping the heat stabilized and consistent in my pit here. Okay, the next modification. Okay, remove that tuning plate, and underneath the foil here I have, well, you can't really see them in the light, but I've lined the whole bottom of this cooking chamber with fireplace brick. And again, same reason. It, you know, that stuff, once it gets saturated with the heat, it just really retains the heat very well. And you can see what I did here with the flashing. This is the part where the top of the tuning plate meets and the heat comes in from underneath here. So here, inside of here is my firebox, and the heat comes underneath that tuning plate and then just rises up. Very consistent. Okay, next modification. Alright, this is the inside of my firebox, and as you can see, I have a pretty large wire basket that I use to put the charcoal in. Couple things. This allows me to stack my charcoal and wood or whatever, you know, nice and high, so you can see it's not going to be falling out this way. It's not going to be going out of the through the damper. And the other nice thing about doing this is, if you guys ever heard of the minion method, which most people have by now, it's basically, you know, I fill the basket up with my charcoal, some wood, and not burning, just unlit charcoal, and then put a small amount of burning charcoal on top, and it just slowly starts igniting all the other charcoal. And basically, by doing that method, I can get a 8 to 10 hour burn, strong burn, consistent temperature for, like I said, up to 10 hours with no problems at all. I don't even have to tend to this thing. Occasionally, you know, if I'm on a long smoke, I'll have to add some wood, but that's about it. It's amazing, you know, the trouble-free operation with this basket in here. It's a huge improvement. Okay, next big mod I did. Alright, the next mod I did, and this is the most effective thing I've done to this thing, it's amazing, is the stoker system. This is a stoker, and basically what it is a fan connected to an adapter. And the company, it's Rock's Barbecue, that makes these things. They sell adapters for basically every type of pit you can imagine, from the, you know, the bullet type like the Weber Smoky Mountain to, you know, your offset pits and giant pits. And basically what I've done is I removed, this thing had a butterfly vent on it, on the damper. I removed that, and I stuck a stainless steel carriage bolt coming through. And there's a hole in the adapter here, and just fits on, excuse that noise, and it completely covers the damper opening now, and I just put the, you know, a wing nut on to hold it on. That plugs into this thing here. This is a fan. It plugs into the control unit, and you can program what you want your internal temperature of the cooking chamber to be. Like, you know, if you're doing a 220 cook, you press 220 degrees. 350, program it to 350. When the temperature starts to drop, there's a, you know, a probe inside sensing the temperature. The fan kicks on, starts feeding the coals or wood or whatever oxygen, gets the heat up. The temperature starts rising above that programmed temperature, the fan shuts off and the temperatures start to drop. The cool thing about this is it has the capability of operating wireless from a computer. So what I do is I have it running on my laptop in the house, and I can program my temperatures from inside my house, and it's amazing. I'm not going to go into much more detail, but if you want to see how consistent this thing operates, I shot a beef brisket, and I showed a lot of footage of the stoker working in the computer program, and very happy with this. There's a couple other companies like Barbecue Guru that makes one, but I like this because of the whole wireless operation for my laptop. Anyway, those are my modifications, and like I said, it's turned this pit into just amazing. The consistency of my temperatures now it's almost carefree. So highly recommend some of these mods if you want to look into them. A lot of them are pretty cheap. Stuff like this, you know, is a little bit spendy, but in the long run it was worth it. Thank you.